Now, the other challenge was how to manage the stage and the flow of events at the stage. Stage management, briefly, tell us, Srividya, please.
So to quickly tell you about stage management, I have to acknowledge a few people who did it very meticulously and flawlessly. We had Meera Revenkar and Rinki Singh from the lady side, and brother Sadanand, brother Ramkrishnan Vembu from handling it from the men's side.
Basha.
And we had Basha, who was running between this side and that side through the green room staircase, passing messages and helping us with things that has to be moved from this side to that side. Backstage management was not only about presentations, the experts coming and presenting. It was also about the various small micro events that we had within the main conference, like the acknowledgement of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, the MTech boys who are doing web applications for us. We had signing of the MOU with Aish, and we had to acknowledge various other people who had contributed to Vidyavahini in a big way, giving of mementos and acknowledging their efforts. So we also had the release of Sri Sathya Sai Vidyavahini anthem and the acknowledgement of people who contributed in making the anthem possible. So these were all the various things that had to be managed from backstage, keeping in view the dynamism of how the agenda and the micro events were also changing. That's about backstage management.
And venue management, which Brother Hari Haran oversaw, what were the highlights, brother, for you?
If you look at the design of the Sai Hira Convention Center, the approach to the center, the way people are to enter the entire auditorium and the seating arrangements there, all of this also had to be thought through because the hall was so huge and everybody had to be seated appropriately. We also had lots of guests and VIPs who obviously have to be chaperoned to their respective seats and guided. So with the constant changes in the agenda and the coming and going of the guests, etc., this was always a challenge, and this was very well managed thanks to a dedicated team. From the ladies side, we had Sri Jayanti sister, we had Suhasini Nagaraj sister and Sandhyashi sister, and from the gent side we had brother P.L. Subramanian and brother Durga Prasad brother, who actually ensured that the guests who came in, they were comfortable. All the participants could understand where exactly they can go for any of their specific needs, and at the same time they also maintain the discipline and decorum that the Sai Hira Global Center demanded. We had to be conscious of the fact that this was a major infrastructure that has been gifted to us by Bhagawan, and it was our responsibility collectively to ensure that we maintain and we ensure that it is used appropriately under all circumstances, and that was ensured by the team that actually handled the entire venue management. I must also add our gratitude to Colonel Narayanan sir, who was the director in charge of the Sai Hira Global Convention Center. He has guided us through all the challenges that we mentioned, whether it was respect to the stage management, whether it was with reference to the console and the screen design, screen setup, etc. And more importantly, he helped us throughout the entire preparation exercise by giving us access to the auditorium so that our speakers, our MCs could come, practice, and we could give appropriate instructions to all our volunteers to manage the entire event flawlessly. Had we not had that opportunity, we probably would have run as headless chickens on the first day, because we would not have known how to handle such a big conference in such a beautiful auditorium. And that was possible thanks to the multiple sessions that he gave us, allowing us to practice and plan everything beforehand. I must also mention that along with the others who helped us in the stage management, we also had Chandra Janakiraman sister, who helped us with the with all the mementos and also all the felicitation related shawls that had to be draped on the guests after they completed their respective speeches. So all of that as well was well managed by Chandra Janakiraman sister.
If I may add to what Brother Hari said, Colonel Narayanan was generous enough to allow us to use even the conference rooms that are available, which are the offices of the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council, to hold prior meetings with all the entities, all the agencies of the ashram who were involved in the execution of this massive task. That included people from security, Kerala Seva Dal, everyone else who we had to coordinate with, transport people, so that we were all face to face on the same page, and later we could operate on WhatsApp and give each other, because every day we had to inform the gates, the canteens about the number of people eating each meal, what time they will come for which meal, all the gates for the arrival, vehicle details, accommodation, everybody. They totally trusted us, and we had a free rein to do things as we needed. Everybody cooperated, thanks to a lot of assistance and guidance we received from Mr. Chellam from the Managing Trustee's office. He was our single point of contact, and he was an amazing Spock who gave us very clear instructions who to contact, when to contact. So it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes an entire ashram to hold a professional level conference like this for a project which hardly has a skeletal team in-house. And all our human capital is spread all over the world, and they just converged on the Divine Valley only like they started coming 3 days prior to the event, and most left within 24 hours of the event. To achieve this kind of success required a lot of background support, on the ground support from the ashram, and that was no questions asked. Everybody went on a limb to help us to do what we did.
Regarding photography, we had Brother Kundan Rai, Brother Srivalsam Gopinath. These two brothers were managing, but there were few lighter moments what happens in the conference we could not capture from the ladies side. So that is the time where a young budding photographer, Supriya Srivalsam, she came in and she handled one more camera from the ladies side. That gave us lot of beautiful smiling pictures from both the sides of gents and ladies.
And those smiles were very heartfelt. Everybody was feeling Bhagawan's presence and was on such a high. And we were so buoyed by the fact that even as some experts were coming on day one, leaving on day two, there were more arriving on day one, staying till the end. And members of the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust were present in all sessions all throughout the 3 days. There were 3 trustees from the Central Trust, the Vice Chancellor of the SSIHL, and the heads of various allied institutions. All were present. But thereafter also we had continuous presence of our trustees there. And one lighter moment I'd like to share is that when you come to Prasanthi Nilayam, this is our head office, this is our home, this is our world. We want a nice satsang. And they had requested for a satsang with the Managing Trustee, Mr. Ratnakar, who graciously obliged, agreed that on day 2, despite his heavy schedule, he would join us for a special session after dinner at Sai Hira at 8 p.m. on day number 2. Now by this time, many of our guests from outside had already gone, but some were here and others had arrived. We felt in our limited thinking that it's best that this session is kept in-house for our volunteers, because we have a certain vibe and an understanding and a deeper connection to Prasanthi Nilayam, and it may not be everybody's cup of tea. But when we told our guests that we are all going for a session with the Managing Trustee, just an in-house satsang, they all said, we are also coming. You can't be ungracious and say, no, you're not allowed. So we said, you're very welcome. It's mostly about, our beloved Bhagawan. They said, we'd love to attend. And believe you me that the people who received the greatest amount of Swami's love and light in that session were people who were first-timers to Prasanthi Nilayam. we didn't know whether they'll be out of place or feeling uncomfortable, because for us we are one family. Swami is the head of our family, and Swami is the god of our lives and the love of our lives. And we started from that place. We were not going to be politically correct and apologetic about what we believe in, right? And when Mr. Ratnakar started speaking about the experiences and holding the satsang, it was uncanny. People brand new to Swami, the way they connected to everything he was saying. And all these days when we were driving ourselves crazy, doing this and that and going into every micro detail, all of us were because now we are in the place of inclusive education, we are constantly diagnosing ourselves and each other as OCD, because we were getting into the nitty gritty of things. And then, like a pat on the back, Mr. Ratnakar told us a story about how detailed Swami was in his hosting practices, where he would say even a wash towel should be opened before it's folded again for the guest to make sure it doesn't have a stain or a rip. When I heard that, I said, okay, Swami, we are on the right path. We are being so fastidious about things, so we're just replicating what you want us to remember. And for me, another high moment was when the managing trustee said that, the way Bhagawan was as a child, the way he declared his mission, the scorpion sting, clearly he was not a neurotypical child. Many may have classified him as neurodiverse, which meant that everybody was paying attention and everybody was hooking on to our inclusive education jargon. So it felt like a real validation for us. And when these guests went back, of course, when our sisters and brothers who work 24/7 on Vidya Vahini, when they went back, their cup was overflowing with bliss and joy. But when the first timers who were new to Swami, first visit to Swami, when they went back in a state of awe and admiration for Bhagawan and what he has created here in Prasanthi. And they've all become our friends for life. And it's funny because we refer to each other as Sister Srividya, Brother Hari. And then we found that all of them started speaking the same language. And they came from different cultural backgrounds, different religious backgrounds. And one of them told me, oh, I feel so bad, I'm leaving. I didn't get a chance to say bye to Hari Brother in person. And somebody else said, Priya sister wrote this article. I'm like, okay, I could see that they were the colors of Prasanthi Nilayam were seeping into their souls, and the culture of Prasanthi Nilayam, they embraced it so naturally. There is magic in the air here, and anybody who comes to Prasanthi, it's impossible for them to leave these premises without being touched by that beautiful magic, that the miracles that blow in the air of Prasanthi. There is God in everything. There is a God particle inside and a God particle outside that gets activated by just putting your feet on the soil of Prasanthi. And we saw it happen to our guests when they were here. Srijana, you were part of the 5-member MC team because we had 5 segments over 2.5 days. Very briefly, can you tell us what that experience was like?
I think I should again go back to the 6th March call. But this is at the end of the call, Hari Brother asked all of us to close our eyes for 30 seconds and invoke Swami's presence within the auditorium, within all of us, in our minds, hearts, thoughts, everything. And I think that became kind of a tradition. And what individual prayer cannot do, collective prayer that has the magic. And why I say that is every single time I used to pray during those 30-second prayer breaks, I would imagine Swami in Sai Hira Global Convention Center while I'm viewing from the podium, because I was given the task of being one of the MCs, and that's no mean task, and that requires a lot of strength, grit and confidence, and I was not sure I had that in me. But I would always visualize Swami as I was standing on the podium, at the podium on the stage, and Swami is walking slowly at the back behind all the seats with a gentle smile, looking down on all the seats and on the stage. So that vision stood out for me, and it stayed with me all through. And when I first chanted the 3 Omkars as the very first MC for the session, the entire 3-day session, I could visualize again Swami, and I was able to take all of his love and give it back. And that's an experience that will stay with me forever, the other four MCs that I've worked with, such talented and wonderful people. And we as team, we would do peer reviews of our scripts, and as we discussed about the dynamic and ever changing, ever evolving agenda, it meant that we had to break chunks of our scripts and exchange with the other, because today's program, say for example, the last session of day 1 became the first session of day 2, and second last session of day 2 became the third session of day 3, or something like that. And we were always on our toes, but we were equally equipped to deal with that, because somebody else has done the research or written the detailed script for that, and all we needed to do was just hand it over to each other. And that kind of hand holding, that kind of camaraderie that went between us, and when we had to suddenly put in another extra line felicitating somebody or calling on somebody else to felicitate somebody, it was very easy because we had that support, the support with each other. And there were some nerve-wracking experiences or moments when we would not know what do we do now, because we were in the backstage, in the wings, and we did not have a clear view of who's there right in the dignitaries' chairs who would come on the stage to felicitate. Where are we getting this information from? And Karuna's sister had already mentioned that some very calm and clear thought process is needed for coordinating an event of this magnitude, and that we had in Hari Brother. And Hari Brother here, he and Brother Subramanian, whom we fondly call Subbu, Brother Subbu and Brother Hari would run all the way through the green rooms from the back entrance into the backstage, and they would give us that information that they could have easily passed it through somebody. First, they would reassure us, calm us down, everything is fine, don't worry about anything, all is going well. And then they would give us the
additional task,
additional stressing change. We would again panic, and they would be like, don't worry, everything is going fine. So I think that kind of clarity and calmness is required in a leader, and we've seen that firsthand. And that it's exceptional because the audience wouldn't have seen this tornado of emotions or
Backstage
stress
drama
going on in our minds and heart.
for sure.
All they would see is a very smooth running program, and I would say that I'll take on this stress and this tornadoes any day, forever, if I have to work with this team again. Thanking Swami for this delightful experience.
And I think I should mention that everybody from Padma Manyan to Sandhya Sekhar to Vikram Marva and Asha Dalviji, everybody was an amazing MC in their own segment and supportive of each other, which was great.